Diddy used to be this untouchable billionaire owning New York. Now he's in a prison jumpsuit, losing hundreds of millions. His friends getting arrested, his career in ruins, and even in jail, he's getting targeted, and CNN held that Cassie video for 8 years before releasing it. It all started at the same time. So you gotta wonder if something bigger is going on behind the scenes.
Who was kind of like, we're done with this guy. You're not back. You're threatened to say this. Release the footage, right? So they released the footage. He comes out, issues an apology, while his lawyers accuse the government of leaking the tape. It was later admitted as evidence in his trial. Again, January deal, March is raiding his house, Miami in LA. May, here's a video being dropped from CNN. Even though they've been sitting on it for 8 years. September 2024, book is released, Kim's Lost Words, which, by the way, there's a lot of speculation with this thing here, so whatever I'm reading here is not necessarily 100%. It is there, it is not there. The alias they use on who wrote the book is Shanti Millwood, which is an alias for Tupac, which is kind of weird. Why would you use that? This book appeared on Amazon, allegedly written by Kim Porter, accused Diddy of misconduct with minors. Porter's children denounced it as fake. Investigators revealed the real author was Chris Todd, who claimed he compiled the book from a mysterious flash drive. Amazon removed the book a month later.
Back in 1999, Diddy actually said it all. Like, he straight up knew what was coming. He said they hate that he's out here partying, and one day they gonna come for him and take everything away. And it's crazy because back then he was on top of the world, the biggest producer, throwing the wildest parties. Everyone loved him. So how did he already know his whole world was gonna crash like that?
They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't gonna stop. We're gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're gonna hear about my party. They're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time. You know, whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizon, people get intimidated. There's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it. It ain't nothing but break it down racial barriers, break it down generation barriers. People from all walks of life. Ron Perlman talking to Jay-Z, Jay-Z talking to, you know what I'm saying? It just goes on and on. You know, it's just like people from all walks of life connecting and getting.
Everyone is whispering that Diddy was working with the big shots in the industry, but when he refused their demands, they decided to take him down and to see how powerful he was. Just check out September 15th, 2023, when Mayor Eric Adams handed him the key to New York City right before his album. The Love album, Off the Grid, came out, and it just shows how untouchable he seemed back then.
He already has the keys to some pretty exclusive places, and now Sean Diddy Combs can add New York City to that list. It's Diddy Day in the city. Videos have been playing on the Jumbotron for TSX Broadway, and the crowd waited. Then around 11:30, the doors opened for the mayor and the artist.
The bad boy of entertainment is getting the key to the city from the bad boy of politics.
I want to thank y'all for this honor and just recognizing me, being from New York, giving me the key to the city. Diddy finally has the key to the city!
Today's event coincides with the release of his new album, The Love album, Off the Grid.
It's 2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a
Diddy used to be super tight with Mayor Adams, and less than 6 months after getting the key to the city, Diddy's house got raided by the feds. And that same year, Mayor Adams got hit with corruption charges. And it wasn't just Diddy falling. Everyone around him was getting caught up in the mess too.
Sean Diddy Combs returned his honorary key to the city at the request of Mayor Eric Adams. The Harlem native was awarded the key last September but returned it on June 10th.
Big breaking news tonight. For the first time in the history of New York City, a sitting mayor has been indicted for crimes. ABC News reporting that Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted by a federal grand jury. We do not know yet the exact charges. Federal authorities have been investigating Adams and members of his staff, issuing subpoenas for documents and cell phones. Several members of administration have resigned, some of them also friends of Mayor Adams. Again, Eric Adams, the 110th mayor of New York, has been indicted by a federal grand jury. We'll have the latest online 9 and tonight on Eyewitness News at 11.
Diddy is getting hit hard, and it's obvious they want to make a statement with him. Ice Cube even pointed out that it's no surprise, and that someone serious with real control is aiming right at Diddy.
Surprised at what things are coming out with Diddy at all, or you're like, you have no idea, it's none of my business, you'll live longer. Kind of like a mindset.
Surprised. How could you be surprised with anything that happens in hip hop? You know, hip hop is the Wild West. So you're gonna have the good, you're gonna have the bad, you're gonna have the ugly.
You think he's being targeted, or some of the stuff he's got, there's credibility on what they're coming after him with the tapes and the feds and raiding his Miami home, his LA home?
I believe he's being targeted.
You believe he's being targeted?
Yeah, I believe, somebody, has the power to pull the trigger to make, this stuff, this domino effect happen.
Ice Cube been warning people for years about those powerful gatekeepers running Hollywood and controlling who rises and who falls. He never dropped names, but kept saying, "You already know who I'm talking about." Then on TikTok, he straight up called them out, saying they know exactly what they've done, and that video blew up everywhere with fans going wild trying to guess who he was really talking about.
You know what it is? It's your homeboy Ice Cube. And some of you may not have realized that I'm not part of the club. And a lot of you listening to me right here, right now, you're not part of the club either. And what I realized with the club is what makes them so mad is when you don't want to be a part of their club. That pisses them off. What club am I talking about? I'm talking about the club of gatekeepers that we all got to deal with. You know who they are, and they definitely know who they are. A lot of people would be like, what, who? Come on, man, stop playing. So, ever since I put out the contract with Black America, they've been fucking with me. Here and there, this and that. But it's cool,
Diddy used to roll with those same powerful people running Hollywood, and Lord Jamar even called them the gay mafia, saying they control the whole place like crime bosses with every record label linked together covering up stuff for each other. And the wildest part is, Lord Jamar thinks Diddy wasn't even the main one, that there's someone even bigger above him pulling all the strings.
Gotta trademark that. But do you believe hip-hop got a gay mafia?
Yes. Do I believe there's people behind the scenes that are homosexuals that are pushing buttons? Yes. And that they want you to be down with their in order to push the button for you? Absolutely. And this is part of it. You just saw one of the gay mafia members. That's who he is. That's who Puffy is. He's one of the members of the mob. He's a mafia member. But he might not be Don Carl. He's not the Godfather. You see? He's not the Godfather. He's one of the heads of the families. You see? We got different families in this fucking thing. We got Bad Boy. We got fucking what do we have? Death Row over here. We have the different we got fucking Arista Records and LaFace. And these are the fucking families in the mafia. You dig? Those record companies are like family.
The reason Diddy fell so hard might be this same mafia, and they say it's them who shaped him into a monster. His ex-bodyguard Gene Deal said he wasn't always like this, but the industry slowly changed him. All the wild parties, the power trips, and empty promises turned his ambition into obsession, and that same pressure pushed him down the path that destroyed him.
When they get down to all the facts and all what happened, he may belong in jail, bruh. And that's not my doing. That's not Cassie doing. That's his doing and his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You gotta realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's gonna make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying, you know, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. All that, he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons and he had a house and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not gonna say allegedly because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self.
They say Diddy got greedy after reaching the top. He worked with the elites but wanted a bigger cut, so he sued the same company that helped make him a billionaire. They settled behind closed doors. But only a few months later, things turned bad and he got slammed with dozens of lawsuits. Even his kids' names got dragged in, and Suge Knight claimed that while Diddy sitting in prison, he's likely pleading with those same powerful folks to let him go.
You gotta realize one thing. That boy life is dangerous. His life isn't, he just not dangerous with the shit they said he was doing, but he's in danger. He know too much. One thing you gotta realize is he probably having a conversation right now with the higher ups and everybody else to figure out how it's gonna work itself out. Because he know all the secrets. And if he get to running his mouth, it could be a bad look. I look at it like the most important thing is the industry need to be built over. You have all these executives, there's somebody who's their father, their grandfather, or all these type of stuff, and they don't give people the opportunity to grow and learn. I know when I first started in this business, it wasn't a machine. I had to be the machine. I had to figure out how to get my songs on the radio. Because at that time they was getting 5% and they got 10%. It was popping champagne bottles. I went from 95% of the songs you hear on the radio was my songs into 97%. So you had to really do all this thing.
In that dark world, everyone played their part in the same hidden circle, the so-called mafia that controlled everything from the background. And Charlemagne said, if Diddy had real people around him, they would have stopped him before it all blew up. But over there, loyalty don't mean nothing. It's just power, fear, and silence running the game.
Feel right? Other than him just being a freak. I don't know how you get in that position and do all of this wild. It just leads me to believe you don't have no real friends around you. Well, because if you're worth $1 billion and you're the guy that has all of these different people employed, like literally you're the reason all of this stuff is happening. All of these people have jobs. You mean to tell me not one person says, bro, you gotta stop around with all these drugs. Bro, you gotta stop around with all this alcohol. Bro, you need to stop around with all these girls. Bro, stop it with the prostitutes. Why do you have guns in the house with the serial number scratched off? Like nobody, not one person comes around and says, what the f?
It all started when Diddy teamed up with the liquor giant Diageo in 2007 to promote Ciroc vodka. That deal made him filthy rich, pulling in over $400 million and helping him hit billionaire status. But people say he tried to cut Diageo out and take over the whole thing himself, and that's when they turned their backs on him. And soon after that, the lawsuits started piling up. So maybe it wasn't just bad luck after all. Now it looks like Diddy got nothing left. All the fame, the brands, the mansions, the jets, even his passport gone, his music career over, and insiders say his money drying up fast with legal bills piling high and the FBI freezing his accounts. He can't even reach his own cash anymore. And what? What's crazy is that rich, flashy life he showed off is now part of the case. The same private jets and mansions he loved using are sitting in FBI hands just like him.
Let's go look at the Ciroc deal, what happened. So Diddy in 2007 does the Ciroc deal, which is a partnership with Diageo to revive Ciroc vodka, taking a 50-50 profit sharing role rather than the standard endorsement. As brand manager and CMO, he elevated the brand from 40,000 to over 2 million cases a year, making it a premium product. Now keep in mind, if you don't know what Diageo is, Diageo owns everybody. Johnny Walker, Crown Royal, Smirnoff, Kettle One, Don Julio, Casamigos, Captain Morgan, Bailey Irish Cream, Guinness. They own all these companies. So Ciroc, hey, this is big. We're bringing Diddy and he's going to take it from 40,000 to 2 million. Profitable. This is great. Let's make some money together. 2013, De Leon Tequila co-ownership. Diddy and Diageo jointly acquired De Leon Tequila, making it a deeper investment relationship. May of 2023, Diddy sues Diageo. Diddy filed a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the De Leon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. Then in January 2024, they settle out of court. Diageo and Diego settled the dispute out of court. While details still remain sealed, the settlement marked the end of their business relationship. So this is from 2007 till 2024. 17 years. Could they have protected him? I don't know. Their CEO currently today is Deborah Ann Crew. She was a former intelligence officer in the military. Once intelligence officer, forever you're an intelligence officer. Who knows what happened? We don't know the relationship. We're not going to make any accusations. All we know is, could this have been a protection where they were at the parties and they knew things that were taking place and are like, wait, what do you want to do to us? No problem. Boom, drop the bomb. I don't know. All I'm saying is the timing is kind of strange. Maybe even they wanted to kind of be like, look, we know what's about to be dropped on this guy. We want to have nothing to do with you. We're out. Here's some money. You stay quiet. We'll pay you, but we want to get out of here. The only thing that the timing is kind of crazy is January 2024, they settle. 2 months later, remember what we're sitting there doing and minding our own business? And you hear March of 2024, the feds are raiding Diddy's Miami home and his LA home.
Combs faces a federal trial and a Justice Department forfeiture action that could cost him his empire. An empire that prosecutors allege was built, at least in part, through a pattern of criminal activity, including alleged trafficking, drug distribution, and violence, all used to advance what they call a racketeering enterprise. In the unsealed indictment, prosecutors outline how his business and personal assets allegedly played a role in carrying out or concealing the crimes. This means any assets connected to the behavior, even indirectly, could be seized, including real estate, companies, vehicles, and aircrafts. Now, his $60 million private jet has reportedly already been sold. The Beverly Hills estate is currently on the market for $61 million. And while Combs still owns his $48 million Miami mansion, a judge denied his request to use it as collateral for bond.
And here's what people don't realize. Diddy's not just burning money on defense. His income sources are collapsing one by one, if not already collapsed. Ciroc's parent company, Diageo, dropped him quietly. No fanfare, no public fight, just a quiet, chilling severance. Revolt TV is bleeding viewers and advertisers amid backlash over Diddy's involvement. Staff are quitting. Execs are jumping ship. He already sold his stake in it, but now that's died. Sean John is a ghost brand, barely sold in department stores, relying on licensing deals that are now being reevaluated. That $400 million fortune is shrinking fast, and
the bills keep stacking up for Diddy, and the wild part is how much he's paying just to stay out of trouble. A former federal prosecutor, Nima Romani, said he might spend over $10 million on lawyers since top ones charge $1 million just to get started. And with a whole squad of attorneys fighting for him, it's clear he's spending big trying to protect his billion-dollar empire and his freedom.
Fox Business Network's Taylor Riggs says Diddy's financial bleeding shows no sign of stopping.
All I know is that good attorneys charge a lot per hour. We know that they have a big case ahead of them. They also have a lot of those civil trials.
I had a big year this year. His $60 million private jet has already been sold. The snazzy plane, sports cars, mansions from LA to Miami and the Hamptons, $1 million in jewelry and over $20 million in top-of-the-line art, including works by Andy Warhol. That's just a short list of Diddy's physical wealth. But now, with his legal nightmare getting even more frightening, Diddy put his Beverly Hills mansion that was raided in March on the market for $61 million.
If people don't want to touch anything with your name on it, you have to look at other tangible assets that you can sell.
54-year-old's long legal fight ahead includes over 24 current cases alleging racketeering, trafficking. Diddy has vehemently denied all the charges and accusations against.
They say Diddy only escaped a life sentence because he had been secretly working with the feds for years, and the elites wanted to remind him that they still run the show. He was looking at spending the rest of his life behind bars, but somehow got just 4 years. And even though he thought he was safe inside their circle, that deal might have been the very thing that sealed his fate.
It was a great day for the family. Overall, though, it's not surprising. You know, we do all know one thing, like I said before, Puffy has strong ties with the government, with the feds, and anybody else would have been cooked, done. I mean, that's the first time in history that a person going to get sentenced and they can actually put on a campaign like they running for the president of the United States, where they can show videos and pretty much everything. Only thing I was waiting on was the fact that I was waiting on him to bring out the DJ and start playing music and let him do what he do best, dance and shake that ass and end up with no time. And the other side of it is that, well, the sad side of it is that I couldn't believe that not one of his baby mothers came in to support him or testify. And I was surprised by that because that shows a lot about the character. I still think it's fair that Puffy got less time because the other people who's involved in this case, other executives, other people, they didn't get punished at all. They walked away untouched. So in society, it's a fair side, and it's a bullshit side.
Now that Diddy seems to have learned his lesson, his sentence is being reduced, and he's expected to serve time at Fort Dix, a low-security prison where things are lighter. And if he gets in, he might try the drug program to earn some time off. But even with that, this chapter of his life is far from over.
With breaking news, and it involves Sean Diddy Combs. His attorney is now requesting that the former or current rap mogul be placed at Fort Dix in New Jersey as a place to serve his prison sentence because of its drug treatment program. His lawyers, in a letter to a judge, said that they want to address his drug abuse issues and maximize family visitation and rehabilitative efforts. They request that the court strongly recommend the Bureau of Prisons that Mr. Combs be placed at that Jersey facility. They're also asking Combs to be placed in the Bureau's most intensive treatment program. Fort Dix is a low-security prison with about 4,000 inmates. It is ultimately, though, up to the Bureau of Prisons to decide where Combs will ultimately serve his time.
He has put in his recommendation on what prison he wants sent to, and he's moving very calculated, and I honestly can't say I'm surprised. Diddy's lawyers just put in this motion to the judge asking for a recommendation for Diddy to be sent to a low-security prison, which is Fort Dix in New Jersey. And they highlight that Diddy wants to go to this prison for multiple reasons, but the main reason that they list this prison is because Diddy wants to try to get into RDAP. That is a prison program where you can actually get up to a year off your sentence if you struggled with substance abuse issues. And honestly, this is one of the best programs where you can get a substantial amount of time off of your sentence if you complete the program. But there's also some things that Diddy would have to meet to even get into this program, which I don't think is going to happen. We already know that Diddy is going to shoot his shot as hard as he can to try to get into this program, because already with what Diddy was sentenced and his time served added to that, he's only looking at about 2.5 years in total. If he was able to make it to this program, he could get up to another year off, meaning he'd only sit 1.5 years in prison. The main qualifier for you to be able to get into this program is show that you had a substance abuse issue before these charges came about and even during these charges, which we know Diddy can in fact meet, but there's also other things that go into why he could be disqualified for this program. The Bureau of Prisons is who is going to handle deciding if Diddy is actually eligible for this program. One of the biggest disqualifiers for this program is violence. Bureau of Prisons will review the nature of current and past convictions. A felony that involved actual, attempted, or threatened use of physical force is a major disqualifier for early release, regardless of the judge's recommendation.
Even if Diddy walks out early, his freedom won't be real, because for the next 5 years, hell be watched nonstop with drug tests and check-ins, and with his past battles, it's gonna be hard to stay clean. One wrong move and he's headed straight back to prison.
Pretty harsh, but they're pretty standard. Things, as you mentioned, like no contact with victims, also no contact with other criminals, no access to firearms, also unsupervised, or visits, drop-in visits from probation officers at any time, mandatory employment. So many of these are standard. But what I do think is notable is the addition of required treatment programs. And it's not just one, right? It is domestic violence, but also drug abuse and also mental health. The reason why it's so notable is because we all remember the defense described this as a modern love story. And even though Combs was acquitted of the most egregious charges, it's really a message from the court saying there's really still something that is not right here. There's treatment that is required. There's issues that need to be resolved.
Can you tell us a little bit about his living conditions? Because I know that he's currently in Brooklyn, but he's actually asked to be moved to a federal facility. Why? What would that do to his living conditions?
Okay, so very specifically, he's requesting to be moved to Fort Dix, to a low security prison. So that would very much ameliorate, improve his living conditions from where he is in Brooklyn. So this low security prison is more like a dorm-like setting and also has a specific drug abuse treatment program that he's requesting to be a part of. And sometimes people who go through this program successfully can get time off at the end.
Well, Angela, we also know that Diddy is going to be required to work 30 hours a week upon his release. Do we know if that's like, he can just do whatever he wants? He's the owner, obviously, of a company, CEO, or is this something that the state or the courts are going to mandate?
So this is interesting. It is pretty standard, and the legal language is work conscientiously at suitable employment. So that doesn't mean that the government can tell him what job to do, but it does mean that the probation officer can veto what he chooses. And the real point here is access and rehabilitation and not a lot of free time, requiring structure. So given that his employment is generally self-employment and a lot of free time, it's not clear here how the probation officer will respond to that, what sort of restrictions they will put. But yeah, the probation officer can say this is not okay, too much free.
Diddy trying everything to dodge prison completely. And crazy enough, it might actually work. Just 3 days after his sentencing, Trump said Diddy's team reached out asking for a pardon, and his lawyers already pushing to get the whole case thrown out, like he's still fighting hard to walk away clean from all of this.
3 days after Diddy was sentenced to over 4 years in prison on charges, President Donald Trump seems to confirm he's heard from the mogul's legal team. The comments coming Monday from the Oval Office as reporters asked about a pardon for Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving 20 years for child trafficking.
Wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it, but I will speak to the DOJ. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon. I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
Trump and Diddy's ties go all the way back to the late 90s. Diddy was reportedly a guest at the president's 2005 wedding, and they ran in the same social circles.
One mogul after another. It's mogul time.
It's your boy Diddy.
ET's cameras caught them together at this New York charity event in 2000.
In a world ruled by secret deals, powerful elites and Hollywood's hidden players Diddy story has turned into a warning about what chasing power can cost. It shows how greed destroys loyalty and how fast success can flip into downfall. And now the real question is, if anyone in that game is actually safe, or if they're all just one mistake away from losing it all. And if you want to keep up with all the wild Hollywood secrets and celebrity tea, make sure you stick around and hit that follow. 'Cause here on Taylor tells all we spill everything they don't want you to know.